Hello and welcome. My name is Alex Cline with the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources, and I will be your conservation educator for the 2020 and 21 school year. We will begin virtual conservation classes with this episode featuring elk restoration, fish ID, some fun facts and trivia, and also an activity for you to complete at home. Kentucky is home to the largest elk herd on this half of the country. But what are elk? How did they get here? And have they always been here? Well, we're going to find out today, and keep an eye out for flying elk. Elk once roamed all over the state of Kentucky. Pioneers and frontiersmen like Daniel Boone would find elk everywhere, and they lived off of elk. However, the eastern elk went extinct around the year 1860. That was caused by unregulated hunting, so no laws, rules, and regulations around hunting, and also with westward expansion, people began to push the elk out of the state of Kentucky. So we're going to talk about how we got those elk back and how we have more than any other state on the eastern half of the United States. At the beginning of 1997, there were 0 elk here in the state of Kentucky. The Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources teamed up with organizations like the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation and other state wildlife agencies across the West to capture elk and bring them back here to Kentucky. Now, today here in Kentucky, we have about 13,000 elk roaming the eastern part of our state. One way that the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources can study the health of our elk herd here in Kentucky is by using something called a GPS tracking collar. So this here radio collar will go around the neck of an elk and it will send a signal to our biologists and our wildlife experts sitting in a computer far, far away, and this will let us know where that elk is. So we can put these out and we can track these elk down and we can learn about them and make sure that they are safe and healthy here in Kentucky. Now, it's a lot harder than you think to put a collar on an elk. It's not like putting a collar on your dog. So we use the help of our friends up in the sky to catch these elk. A helicopter crew will safely capture an elk by using a net. Once they have that elk captured, they will put it in a specially designed bag to keep their spine and their organs safe, where that elk will be airlifted to our biologists and wildlife experts. Once they have that elk, they will fasten one of these collars around its neck safely and release it back into the wild with its friends, and now we can keep up and know where that elk is. A male elk is known as a bull, and a female elk is known as a cow. So our bulls grow something pretty cool on the tops of their heads, and that is called antlers. Now, antlers are made out of bone, so just like your bones, that's what this antler is made out of. These antlers will grow all year long, and then later on in the year, these things will fall off their head, and they'll start to grow new ones. So sometimes you may hear people refer to antlers as horns. But there's a difference between antlers and horns. A horn does not fall off, and horns are made out of keratin. Keratin is what makes up your fingernails and your hair. So just remember that deer and elk have antlers on their head. They will grow, and then they will fall off, and they will grow them again. For our fish ID, we have a crappie. Now this here is a black crappie, and we have two different species of crappie here in the state of Kentucky, the black crappie and the white crappie. One way that you can tell the difference is a black crappie will have 7 to 8 spines on their dorsal fin. A white crappie will only have 5 to 6. Also, a black crappie will have their black scales randomly placed on their sides, while a white crappie will have vertical bars of black scales. A black crappie is also round like the shape of a pan, where a white crappie will be more elongated. Now they're nicknamed the paper mouth because they have a paper thin mouth. You can even see my thumb on the inside here. Now there is no statewide minimum size limit to keep crappie. However, there are special regulations in places like Lake Cumberland where this crappie has to be 10 inches long to keep it. Now when you measure it, you want to measure from its mouth with a closed mouth to its tail squeezed together and make sure that it is long enough to keep where there are special regulations. Next, we're going to be talking about how to build a cane pole. This is something that you can do at home in a fun and effective way to catch fish here in Kentucky. So number one is you need a piece of cane or some type of stick, a pair of scissors, some tape, preferably electrical tape, fishing line, a hook, and a sinker. So we're going to start by taking the end of our fishing line. We're going to hold it down here at the end of our cane pole. We're going to wrap a piece of our electrical tape around the fishing line and the cane pole. And we're going to run the line along our cane pole, and every so often we're going to take a piece of tape and wrap that line to the cane pole. By taping the line every so often, we're going to give action to the whole cane pole rather than just by taping the line to the tip. And then once we get to the top, we're going to put one more piece of tape right at the very end. Now that we have our line taped to our cane pole, we're going to pull enough line out that it measures the length of the cane pole. And we're going to cut it. And now we have about 6 foot of line on our cane pole. So now we're going to attach our hook to the end of our fishing line using the improved clinch knot. So we put our line through the eye of the hook. We're going to twist it about 5 times. We're going to pull it through our hole that we've created. And then we're going to pull the end back through the new hole. Once we have it through there, then we are going to lick it and cinch it down tight. And to fish with your newly constructed cane pole, you put on your bait, drop it in the water, and wait for a fish to bite. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, or maybe there's something that you want to know more about here in Kentucky, have your teacher write me an email for that to be featured in the next episode. Have a great day.